Welcome to our channel EduSect Online. Today we are going to discuss our third chapter in Science of Class 10, Metals and Non-Metals. Let's start the video. Metals and Non-Metals. All the elements and the large number of compounds are very important in our everyday life. On the basis of their properties, these elements can be divided into two main groups. They are metals and non-metals. Apart from this, some elements show properties of both metals and non-metals. Such group of elements are called as metalloids. Let's discuss these metals and non-metals in detail. First, metals. What are metals? These are the elements which form positive ions by losing electrons. Examples are copper, iron, aluminium, sodium, etc. So metals are those elements which can form positive ions by losing electrons. Let's discuss the physical properties of metals. First is metallic luster. Metallic luster means those are having bright shining surface. In pure state, metals are having a shiny surface. This property is called metallic luster. For example, gold, silver, platinum, etc. These elements are known for their bright shining surface. Next property is hardness. Metals are generally hard. This hardness may vary from metal to metal. For example, iron, copper, etc. are the hardest metals. But there are some alkali metals like lithium, sodium, potassium. These are so soft so that they can be easily cut with a knife. The next is ductility. Ductility means it is a property due to which a metal can be drawn into thin wires. Metals are generally ductile. Example, gold. So this gold can be drawn into thin wires. The next property is malleability. Malleability means it is a property of metal due to which it can be beaten into thin sheets. So most of the metals are malleable in nature. For example, gold, silver, etc. Then next is electrical conductivity. Most of the metals are good conductors of electricity in solid state. This conductivity may vary from one metal to another, and this electrical conductivity or flow of electric current is due to the flow of free electrons present in the metal. The next is good conductor of heat. Generally, metals are the good conductors of heat, except lead and mercury. These are very poor conductors of heat, and metals like copper, silver are the best conductors of heat. Next is melting and boiling point. Metals generally are having high melting and boiling point. Tungsten is the metal which is having the highest melting point among the metal, while gallium and cesium, these two metals are having very low melting point. That means these two metals will melt if we keep them on our palm. Next is sonority. Sonority means the metals can produce a sound on striking a hard surface, and that property is said to be sonority. So metals produce a sound on striking a hard surface. That means the metals are sonorous, and using this property the school bells are made up of metal. So these are the different physical properties of metals. That means they are having metallic luster, then it is hard, and they are ductile and malleable in nature. Then metals are good conductors of electricity and heat, and they are having the high melting and boiling point. Then the metals are sonorous in nature. Next we will discuss about the chemical properties of metals. First one is reaction of metals with oxygen. Almost all metals can combine with oxygen to produce metal oxide. Metal can react with oxygen in air and produces metal oxide. We can see some example. Aluminium is a metal. Aluminium can react with oxygen on heating and produces aluminium oxide. Then next, copper. Copper can react with oxygen on heating and produces copper oxide. And these two metal oxides are basic in nature. Generally, these metal oxides are basic in nature. But there are some exceptions. Like Some metal oxides such as aluminum oxide or zinc oxide, they show both acidic and basic nature. That means such metal oxides can react with both acids as well as bases to produce salt and water, and they are said to be amphoteric oxides. So amphoteric oxides are those metal oxides which can react with both acid and base. For example, aluminum oxide. It can react with acid, that is hydrochloric acid, and forms its salt, aluminum chloride and water. And the same aluminum oxide can react with a base, that is sodium hydroxide, and produces the salt, sodium aluminate and water. Then the metal oxides are insoluble in water generally, but some of these can dissolve in water to form hydroxide called alkali. Generally metal oxides are insoluble in water, but some can dissolve in water to form the hydroxides called alkali. We can see the examples. This is sodium oxide, Na2O. It can dissolve in water and form sodium hydroxide or alkali. And this is potassium oxide. It can react or dissolve in water to form potassium hydroxide or alkali. Next is reactivity of different metals towards oxygen. The different metals react with oxygen at different rates. That means the reactivity level of different metals towards oxygen is in different manner or in different level. So we can discuss one by one in detail. First is sodium, Na, sodium, and potassium, K. They can react so vigorously with oxygen. That means they can catch fire if left in open place. That's why they are kept immersed in kerosene oil. Then at room temperature, the surface of magnesium and aluminium are covered with thin layer of oxide which prevents them from further oxidation. Then about zinc. Zinc burns only on strong heating, and iron, Fe, does not burn on heating in the form of rod or block, but it can burn in the form of filling only. Then next, copper, Cu. It does not burn on heating, but the blisters of copper burns. Then next is silver, that is Ag, and gold, Au, do not react with oxygen even at high temperature. Thus, the order of reactivity of the metals with oxygen will be like this. The most reactive metal towards oxygen is sodium, following magnesium, zinc, iron, copper, and silver. That means the most reactive metal towards oxygen is sodium, and then this reactivity is decreasing by going right, and the least reactive metal towards oxygen will be silver, Ag. The next chemical property of metal is reaction of metals with water. Metals can react with water to form metal oxide and hydrogen gas. And the metal oxide thus formed, this is soluble in water and forming metal hydroxide. That is, metal can react with water to form metal oxide and hydrogen gas. The so formed metal oxide can dissolve in water to form metal hydroxide. But all metals do not react with water, as the metal placed lower in the reactivity series are less reactive towards water. We can see the reactivity level of different metals towards water. First one is sodium, Na, and potassium, K. They both can react with water. That means they can react so violent with the cold water to produce sodium. It can react with cold water and produce sodium hydroxide, hydrogen along with the generation of heat. Likewise, potassium, it can react with the cold water and form potassium hydroxide, hydrogen and heat. That means they can react with the cold water so violently and produces their hydroxides and hydrogen along with the generation of heat. That means these reactions are highly exothermic, and the so generated heat is so sufficient for the hydrogen to catch fire. That's why the sodium and potassium are kept immersed in kerosene oil. The next is calcium. The reaction of calcium with water is less violent, and that means the heat evolved is not sufficient for the hydrogen to catch fire. That means calcium, it can react with cold water. This is also cold water and forming calcium hydroxide and hydrogen. But the calcium floats over water because the bubbles of hydrogen gas formed stick on the surface of the metal. The next is about aluminium. This aluminium, iron, and also zinc. They do not react with cold or hot water, but they can react with steam. So this aluminium can react with steam. That is, this H2O represents the steam. So aluminium can react with steam and forming aluminium oxide and hydrogen. And same, this iron, it can react with steam and forming ferrous oxide and hydrogen. Then next is lead. Lead, copper, silver, gold, they do not react with water at all. Thus, the reactivity order of metals towards water will be like this. This is potassium. This is a more reactive metal towards water. Then it is followed by sodium, then calcium, then magnesium, aluminium, iron, lead, copper, silver, and gold. So the most reactive metal will be potassium, and this reactivity level is getting decreased by going to the right, and the least reactive metal towards water will be gold. The next chemical property is reaction of metals with acids. Except a very few less reactive metals, all metals react with dilute acid to form salt and hydrogen. We can see one example. This is zinc. It's a metal. It can react with a dilute hydrochloric acid. This is dilute. Dilute hydrochloric acid forming its salt zinc chloride and hydrogen gas. These exceptions are for copper, then silver, gold, platinum, etc. They don't react with this dilute acids. When a metal reacts with a dilute nitric acid, hydrogen gas is not evolved. That means hydrogen gas is not evolved when a metal reacts with nitric acid. It is because of the strong oxidizing nature of nitric acid, because it oxidizes hydrogen to water and itself get reduced to any of the nitrogen oxide like N2O, NO or NO2. That means when a metal reacts with dilute nitric acid, hydrogen gas is not evolved because of the strong oxidizing nature of nitric acid. Because it oxidizes hydrogen to water and itself get reduced to any of the nitrogen oxide like N2O, NO or NO2. Like this metal, dilute HNO3, that's nitric acid, and it forms its salt and any of the nitrogen oxides then and water. But there is one exceptional case, it is for magnesium and manganese. So this can react with a dilute nitric acid, that is this HNO3 is dilute. It can form its salt and hydrogen gas. This is an exceptional case for magnesium and manganese. The next property is reaction of metals with solutions of other metal salt. Reactive metals can displace a comparatively less reactive metal from its compound in aqueous solution or in molten form. That means when metal A, it can react with salt solution of B, then it displaces the less reactive element and forms salt solution of A and metal B. We can see one example. This is copper, this is metal, and it can react with a salt solution of silver, that is silver nitrate, AgNO3. And what happens? This copper will displace this silver, Ag, from its solution and forming copper nitrate, CuNO3 twice, and silver. That means this is a displacement reaction because copper displaces silver from its solution. So these are the different chemical properties of metals. That means metal can react with oxygen, metals can react with water, then metals can react with dilute acid, then it can react with the solutions of other metal salt. So next we can see the reactivity series of metals. It is a list of metals arranged in the order of the decreasing activity. That means on the basis of the relative tendency to lose electron and the reactive nature, these metals are arranged in a series. And that series is said to be activity series or reactivity series of metals. So we can arrange the metals like this. And the metals which are placed above this hydrogen as more reactive metals, and the metals which are written down to this hydrogen, they are less reactive metals. It shows that the reactivity of the metals is decreasing by going down. So this potassium which is placed on the top will be the most reactive metal, and the reactivity is getting decreased by going down, and the least reactive metal will be gold. So the most reactive metals are potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, tin, lead. These are the more reactive metals than hydrogen, and this copper, mercury, silver, gold, these are the less reactive metals than hydrogen. And the decreasing chemical reactivity or reactivity level is from top to bottom. Most reactive metal is potassium and the least reactive is gold. Then next we can discuss about non-metals. What are non-metals? These are the elements which form negative ions by gaining electrons. We know metals are those which form positive ions by losing electron. So non-metals means just opposite. They form negative ions by gaining electrons. And these non-metals are either solid or gases, except bromine, which is a liquid. Examples of non-metals are iodine, sulfur, oxygen, hydrogen, etc. Then next we can see the physical properties of non-metals. First is malleability and ductility. So non-metals are neither malleable nor ductile. They doesn't have the property of malleability or ductility. That means it cannot be drawn into thin wires and it cannot be drawn into thin sheets. Then next is brittleness. Brittleness means non-metals are brittle in nature. That means it breaks into pieces. For example, sulfur. When it is hammered, it breaks into pieces. The next is physical state. We know most of the non-metals are soft if they are solid. But one exception is diamond. Diamond is an allotropic form of carbon. It is the hardest known substance. The next is luster. Luster means a shining surface. The non-metals do not have a luster, but diamond, graphite and iodine. Diamond, graphite and iodine, they have luster even though they are non-metals. The next is electrical and thermal conductivity. Non-metals are generally poor conductors of heat and electricity, but graphite, which is an allotrope of carbon, is a good conductor of electricity. The next is melting and boiling point. Generally, the non-metals are having low melting and boiling points, but non-metals that are solids have comparatively higher boiling point. For example, silicon, carbon, etc. The next is chemical properties of non-metals. Non-metals do not react with water, steam or dilute acid because they act as an electron acceptor. That means it cannot supply electrons to the H plus ions of acid to reduce them to hydrogen gas. Non-metals cannot react with water, steam or dilute acid because it is an electron acceptor. That's why it cannot supply electrons to the H plus ions of acid to reduce them to hydrogen gas. But on heating, it readily forms oxides of salt with concentrated acids. We can see one example, sulfur, which is a non-metal. It can react with concentrated sulfuric acid. On heat, it produces sulfur dioxide and water. And non-metals also show displacement reaction. For example, this is chlorine. a non-metal, it can react with sodium bromide NaBr. Then what happens is chlorine displaces bromine from its solution and forming sodium chloride and bromine. That means non-metals can also show displacement reactions like that of metals. So far we have discussed about the physical and chemical properties of metals and non-metals. The remaining topics in this chapter will be uploading soon as part 2. So if you like this video, please do share with this your friends. Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon also. Thank you.